Good morning. um, This is just going to be the second chapter of Foolproof, the story set in the AB universe. I tried to do this a million times last night, and my camera was just having none of it. So I'm trying a different thing today, and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, chapter 2. We ran quickly and quietly out of the car park and onto the street. I knew the basic outlay of the area, but it was fuzzy. I'd never been out by myself before. No littles had. It was against the law. We'd be in the biggest trouble ever if we got caught. "Come on," said Aiden, and trooped down the footpath with the air of a general. "Wait," I said. "You don't even know where my daddy is." General Aiden stopped dead in his tracks and turned to me. "Oh." He blinked a few times. "Where is he then?" In the city," I said slowly. I had no idea exactly where. Aiden scratched his head and thought. "This way!" he cried, and the general resumed his march. The area we were walking in was mostly residential. Lots of new, wide, one-level houses, low fences and tall trees. I had to prod Aiden to keep walking more than once. It seemed that he loved climbing things. Fences, trees, play forts shaped like boats. It just didn't occur to him that it wasn't a particularly good idea to climb a tree that grew in another family's yard. After several minutes of slow walking, 3 things happened. The first was that I really wished I'd brought some food. I estimated it was noon and I could hear my stomach growling. The second was that Aiden's shoes fell apart. Literally. First the sole came unstuck, and then it fell off completely, and the plastic at the toe came unglued until all that was left was a patch of canvas on the top of his foot, which he removed and threw into some nearby bushes in disgust. The third was that we happened upon a train station. "Come on," I cried. "Trains! Trains to the city!" The station was a small suburban one and featured only 2 platforms and no turnstiles. Aiden and I stood alone on platform 1. It was completely deserted. "Listen," I said quietly. "We'll be in big trouble if we're caught by ourselves, so we have to pretend to be as big as we possibly can, okay?" Okay?" Aiden nodded and put his nose up in the air. "What on earth are you talking about?" he said, in a terrible British accent. "I'm a big boy. Person. Man. He repeatedly corrected himself, shaking his head. The station was filled with an assortment of loud noises as the train arrived. When the doors swung open, we walked on, rather than my usual bounce and Aiden's usual run, and calmly took our seats. For a moment, I wished that I had a newspaper to hold. "So," I began casually, "did you see the news last night?" "Oh," I said, looking around. There was absolutely no one on the train. It began moving towards its next stop. "No," said Aiden, his mouth full of God knows what. He swallowed. "I don't watch the news." "I was trying," I began emphatically, "to be big." "Oh, I knew that." "Oh, you did not." "Did too." "You did not." "I did too." "Did not." "Did too." "Shh," I said. The train had come to a stop at the next station, and the doors opened at precisely the same moment as Aiden's last "did too." Several adults flooded through the doors and took their seats. "So, see the news last night?" Aiden asked me, with a trace of a smug smile on his lips. By the time the train had stopped 3 more times, our cover still hadn't been blown, and I was suspicious. It wasn't due to Aiden's acting skills. You could see he was little from a mile away. And it wasn't just the stained shirt, ripped jeans, missing shoe, and telltale plastic picking out of the waistband of his pants. And despite his mastery of the adult language, he just had an aura about him. A blind man would be able to tell that Aiden James Phillips was a little. And me? On the one day I had to pretend to be big, I elect to wear the littlest outfit in my entire wardrobe. a pink pinafore that barely covered my padded backside, striped skivvy top, matching tights, and kitten-printed Velcro Mary Janes, all in a very light shade of pink. I was just glad that my knitted cat ear hat was currently in my cubbyhole back at school. School, that reminded me. Had they noticed we were missing yet? I heard the crackly intercom come on during this thought pattern. By the time I focused on the message, all I caught was, "This train has terminated. Please remember to take all personal belongings when you exit the train. Thank you." "Come on," I said, pulling Aiden up by the forearm and out of the train. I looked around as we exited, past the crowd of people streaming around us. The station was far larger than the last one. We began to make our way through the station, and Aiden continued chattering on about issues he continued to be particularly adult, such as the distance between this station and an ice cream store, and the fact that he couldn't find a pair of pants that didn't tear at the knees anywhere. It didn't really matter that he didn't do his own shopping. Meanwhile, my mind was wandering. How were we going to get through the turnstiles? What if we were caught? Where was Daddy? More importantly, where were we? I was jarred out of my thoughts with a hand on my shoulder and a loud voice in my ear. "Hold on a second." I turned around, and the first thing I noticed was a shiny badge pinned to the front of the man's dark blue uniform. I gulped. "So, see the news last night?" Aiden weakly asked the policeman. The man looked down at us. "Are you two alone out here? Where's your mummy? Where's your daddy?" "In the toilet," I said quickly. "We're just waiting for our daddy." "All right," he said, raising an eyebrow, and took each of our hands. "Let's go and wait for him together, okay?" He started walking over to a vacant bench, but Aiden pulled against the man's grip on his hand. "We can't," he said, panicked. The policeman stopped. "And why is that?" I... Aiden stammered. "Because he told us not to move from this spot," I piped up. "We'll be in trouble if we move." Aiden gave me a grateful smile. "Okay," the man said. "We'll just wait right here." We waited for a total of 22 minutes and 43 seconds. I know this because I spent those everlasting minutes staring at the clock bolted to the wall of the station. When this time had passed, the officer cleared his throat and looked sternly at the pair of us. "I think it's safe to say that you two are not waiting for your daddy." I squirmed and looked down at my toes. "No, sir," I whispered. "So, you two are out walking around this busy station alone?" he asked, as if he couldn't fathom the idea. We both nodded wordlessly, and his eyebrows shot up towards his hairline. "We ran away from nursery school," I said quietly, to which he nodded. "Which school?" he asked. "ABC," I said, miserably, and then I tried to add to that sentence, but he shushed me. "Come with me," he said briskly, and took us both by the hand again. We walked quickly to keep up with him, and he led us through the station. He spoke briefly to the attendant at the turnstile, and we were through. A short walk down the block led us to a police car, and our mouths simultaneously dropped open. Aiden was in rapture, bouncing and barely able to contain the grin that was spilling all over his stupid, freckled face. And I was gasping in dismay. I was being arrested. And I'd have to go to jail, and I'd never see my daddy again, and all because I was just trying to find him. I should have just stayed at school. The officer ushered us into the car and helped us buckle in. When the car was in motion, Aiden piped up, "Can you put the siren on?" I punched him in the arm. "Ow, what was that for?" "Shut up!" I whispered loudly. "We're in big trouble." "She's right, you two are in big trouble." I caught his stern glance in the rearview mirror and squirmed again, folding myself into the seat as I'd done in my crib that morning. "What are your names?" he asked, and Aiden was only too happy to oblige. "I'm Aiden James Phillips," he said, still bouncing. I may be imagining this, but I swear I saw the officer smile. And you? He asked me, gently. Vanessa Henry, I said quietly, and he didn't giggle as Aiden had done, merely nodded. My name is Officer Ryland, he spoke, and manoeuvred the cruiser into the police station. My stomach felt like a pan on a hot stove, just boiling. Seeing the station had provided Aiden with the gravity necessary to wipe that stupid grin off his face. His eyes were now as wide as mine, and I heard him swallow hard. It was true. We were in big, big trouble.